Welcome to the first ever Casual Clicksins HeroClix Online gameplay. Unfortunately, I was not able to capture my opponent's audio. Hopefully in future installments, we'll have that taken care of. That way you're able to hear our witty banter. This is actually the first game that I've played online ever, so I was kind of learning the controls as I was going along. And on top of that, this was also my first game against an opponent who is not a family member in years. I'm talking about 4 or 5 years. The team I'm playing was the Fantastic Four team that I am still modifying. And if you've been keeping up with the team building series for the Gauntlet, this team is probably the best team that's come out of that particular series. And I'm glad that all the hard work and effort I put into building in that team paid off. So what I did here was I decided to set up my team close to that entrance on elevated terrain. Since it was just going to be in the way, I just decided I think it would be better to position Ghost Rider and Black Leopard closer to the entrance or the elevation change where they can climb up. Instead of playing around it, I thought I would use it to my advantage. My opponent's team, which again, I'm sorry that I was not able to capture his audio, so I'll try my best to try to fill in his thoughts and words as we were going along through the game. I kind of had to use the higher elevation and the elevation itself to my advantage instead of letting my opponent get the high ground. So there, what I'm beginning to do is I'm beginning to see if it's worth advancing my team and taking the high ground right away. But I decide to instead play it a little more cautiously and hide behind that third elevation. As of right now, you see Human Torch carrying Valeria Richards, trying to figure out where to place her. And I decided instead to use that elevation change to my advantage and have that block the lines of fire in case my opponent was able to somehow get off a running shots. Because like I mentioned, because of Wizard having that amazing trait alongside his team having 7 characters with 7 and 8 range can be kind of scary. Ghost Rider here being placed right in the center. That way everyone adjacent to her can benefit off of that special power that she has on her defense that allows her to use defend, and not only defend, but also energy shield deflection. So this is what the power says. The Guardian Phantasma. Defend, energy shield, deflection, toughness, and willpower. Adjacent friendly characters of equal or lower points or that share a keyword with Ghost Rider can use energy shield deflection. So since they all share a keyword with Ghost Rider, they can all use energy shield deflection. And I am using Perplexing Valeria to Franklin Richards' defense, and Black Leopard perplexes his own defense up by 1 as well. My opponent Rob, by the way, if you don't know, or I don't think I've mentioned, we do have a podcast that we do. It's a HeroClix related podcast, of course, on his that he's gracious enough to host through his website on afterdragons.com. His Intelligencia team has a pretty cool combo with Wizard, the Wizard Prime, making it very easy for his range heavy team to target characters behind particular elevations, thanks to his special power. I'm sorry, not special power. His trait, which is Helmet Visor Scanner, free, choose a character within range and line of fire. This turn, lines of fire drawn to that character can't be blocked or hindered. And, seeing as how he has a range heavy team with Trapster and M.O.D.O.K, and of course Wizard. And Franklin Richards here giving my entire team willpower thanks to his trait that he has. with Return of the Fantastic Four, friendly characters with a Fantastic Four keyword within 4 squares have the power Cosmic Team ability. You'll see me roll for several characters here, and you'll notice some of their tokens being removed. And on top of that, I also have leadership on Black Leopard and Human Torch, which just gives them extra ways to remove action tokens off themselves to hopefully continue acting. And as you can see, it does pay off because Black Leopard is clear. Franklin Richards cleared himself too. It looks like Invisible Woman as well. The only one who wasn't able to get a token off themselves was Human Torch. And what I begin doing here is I begin setting up an attack with Black Leopard, that trait that he has, to fight for equality in Rudyarda. The maximum attack, defense, and damage values of opposing characters within 6 squares in line of fire are each equal to Black Leopard's printed value of that type. So what I wanted to do was get Black Leopard in line of sight, have line of fire to M.O.D.O.K, which was easy enough because M.O.D.O.K's a giant, and Franklin Richards here was going to make an alpha strike with running shot, precision strike, and energy explosion. Valeria Richards had perplexed his attack just to make sure that, for whatever reason, because he already has an 11 attack, Black Leopard had perplexed down M.O.D.O.K's defense, bringing it down to a 16. So really, Franklin only needed a 5. But I didn't want to chance it, so I went with a 4. And I still rolled a critical miss. I used a Theme Team probability control here to get that reroll. And if you're wondering how Franklin Richards can fire through Black Leopard to hit M.O.D.O.K, remember that M.O.D.O.K is a giant. So standard size characters, characters of smaller sizes don't block line of fires to characters of bigger sizes. And this time I hit, and my opponent decided to use a probability control on M.O.D.O.K. There you see I'm rolling for super senses. Unfortunately, Red Ghost needed a 6 since that energy explosion was tied with precision strike. Now that these two powers work in tandem, Red Hulk even had to take a damage because you can't reduce that damage below 1, so it got past his invulnerability. The only one who actually didn't take any damage was a Wizard, as my roll was too low to hit his defense. And so that ended up being a pretty good attack because that got Red Ghost down a couple of clicks. He still hasn't spawned his super apes. And right now I decided that, I have to get rid of him because if Red Ghost is allowed to spawn those super apes and create tie-up pieces and add more figures on his board, to his side of the board, I thought at that moment he was probably he was going to be the character that was going to give me the biggest headache if I didn't get rid of him. So right here, I decided to use running shot carrying Valeria Richards targeting Red Ghost. Red Ghost had super senses. So if Human Torch here hits, he still gets an opportunity to try to evade that attack. There's my roll. 9. Should be enough to hit, and he fails his super senses roll, and that's enough to knock him out thanks to the other 2 damage put on him by Franklin Richards. Any die rolls that may come up, I think, are for leadership. Let's see. Oh no, that's the damage that Franklin Richards took, the unavoidable damage that he has to take because of that trait. Special power. Every time I use my powers, I get closer to losing them. He only took 1 damage, and that put him on his 2nd click. My opponent here saw that Ghost Rider giving everybody energy shield was going to be a problem to his range heavy team. So he made the bold maneuver of using his figures to tie my figures up and try to nullify my range tactics. And that die roll that you saw right now was a misplay, as Hulk should have actually been on his. He should have taken 1 damage. I didn't realize it until after he had made that charge, but that's fine. The attack missed anyway. And there you see some rolls for willpower and leadership. So those tokens that are slowly being taken off are through either ability. Of course, willpower letting them take tokens off themselves, and leadership off of another friendly character. Human Torch has a trait leadership power that says when Human Torch uses leadership and succeeds, the friendly character does not have to be adjacent if it shares a keyword with him. And right here, I see an opportunity for Ghost Rider to use Quake, and that's what we're currently doing. We rolled the attack, we're doing the knockback. This was also aided by Valeria Richards' Perplex, giving Ghost Rider an extra attack, +1 attack. Franklin Richards is going to act again, activating his special power again, using Running Shot, Penetrating Psychic Blast, and Probability Control. And there you see he hit the Hulk for 4. That's going to knock him out, and my opponent uses a Theme Team Prob on his end and is still high enough to hit the Hulk. And since it's penetrating damage, it cuts through his defenses, removing him from the board right away. Next attack is going to be Black Leopard, making a close attack against M.O.D.O.K using Blades, Claws, Fangs. I do believe I used Perplex on his attack, if I'm not mistaken, just to make sure that he hits without having to use those probs. And that was high enough to hit, and I think there's a counter prob coming my way as well. Oh no, he didn't challenge it, and I rolled a 5 for Blades. But because M.O.D.O.K had a vulnerability, only took 3 damage and put him on his last click with regeneration. And at that point, I decided that Invisible Woman needs to actually get in on the action. And she actually got a +1 attack thanks to the sideline that I'll try to remember to include in the description down below. But the sideline does have a card. I think it's Mad Thinker, or is it? No, it is Wizard. Who gives friendly captains and sidekicks modify attack +1 when attacking one or more characters with a scientist keyword. M.O.D.O.K having that scientist keyword, of course, allowed her to get +1 attack, and leaving my opponent with only Trapster and Wizard left. And I think it was around this point, more or less, that my opponent decided to graciously concede to the Fantastic Four Gauntlet team that I've been working on here. Rob, I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to play a game with me. Definitely planning to put more games out there as they become available. I'm still learning the ins and outs of that online system, so it may take me a while to get content going up. Please remember that this channel is powered by your likes and subscriptions. And as always, thank you so much for watching.